Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here it is. My first full suspension mountain bike. So I've been very late on jumping on the full suspension bandwagon, and the main reason is just potential maintenance issues, maintenance nightmares with full suspension bikes. So my first foray into full suspension is not a high-end bike. It's more on the lower end of the scale, but I think it's a quality setup. So this is a 2018 KHS 3500. It's 120 millimeters of travel, so around 5 inches, front and rear, hydroformed aluminum frame, aluminum chainstay. It is a 1x11 design, and it is a 27.5, so my first 650B 27.5 bike. So our main trail system here, like basically I can ride to the best trails in the area from my house. I can get there in less than 20 minutes from my door riding. So I always ride to the trails. But our main trail system is becoming very, very rooty. And the reason being is the soil is eroding away from the roots, and more of the root is being exposed, and there are sections that are just a series of nonstop roots that are 2 inches, 3 inches, even some of them are 4 or 5 inches high of roots sticking up above the ground. And that trail system is becoming a full suspension trail system. So I picked this up. I got a pretty good price on it. So far, I've done one good ride on it. Last Saturday, I did a 3-hour off-road ride, and it was basically a revelation for those rooty sections. It saved a lot of energy, a lot of abuse and pounding, and basically you ride through those sections faster than you can on even a fat bike with front suspension. So, yeah, it's not the greatest bike in the world, but so far I'm enjoying it. So it's an X Fusion shock, so it's very basic. It just has a rebound adjustment, and it does have a lockout lever on it, which works quite well. So lock it out when I'm riding to the trails. The front fork is RST first. I think RST is Rapid Suspension Technology. It's a well-known budget name. But what my dealer told me is actually RST makes RockShox lower end forks at their factory. So this has a compression adjustment on it. It has a lockout adjustment that's quite effective. And then I think the rebound is underneath here. It's a 50 millimeter through axle. It's through axle on the rear. And shifting wise, it is Shimano SLX 11 speed. So it's got the gear indicator, which I actually like. SLX rear derailleur with a clutch. And then it's actually a Sunrace branded cassette. So it's not a Shimano cassette, but it is 1146. So it actually has a pretty big easy gear on it. It's 46 tooth. My only real complaint is the chainring. It's a 32 tooth. And on the ride I did on the weekend, because I was doing basically off-road for 3 hours, near the end of the ride, the hills were getting hard because I didn't have an easy enough gear to spin up them. So I've been looking online. I messaged KHS on their Facebook page. They said this is a SRAM 76 millimeter BCD, and I looked online and there aren't that many options for it. I found one from Wolf's Tooth. They make a 30 tooth, and Black Spire, which is a Canadian company, they actually offer 26 and 28 teeth. I think I would actually want a 28 tooth. So the reason I bought this bike is for that Saturday ride, and try and increase my off-road ride to like 4 hours, maybe even a 5-hour nonstop off-road ride. So I want the ability, that last for 4 hours to be able to still spin my way up some of the bigger climbs and get pretty decent amount of vertical on those rides. So I definitely have to go to at least a 30, but ideally I think I'd want a 28 tooth as a pure off-road gearing. Oh, brake wise, they're Shimano branded brakes as opposed to some other generic brand. And then it uses a core handlebar, a core stem, so it's kind of quasi brand name stuff. And then it's a KHS seat post on it, and then this WTB Volt seat. I actually like the shape of it, so I'm not going to switch it out. These are Samex cranks that KHS uses in a lot of their bikes. It's actually kind of nice for a cheap low-end crank. It's all cut out on the backside to reduce weight, which is a nice feature. And then pedal-wise, I bought these inexpensive Time clipless platform pedals. So you have a large surface. If you clip out, you have a surface there to stand on. These are, I think, less than $100. They're just plastic or resin, so hopefully I don't end up cracking them on rocks. Because one thing I did notice, and I'll have to adjust my riding, is I was getting a lot more pedal strikes, especially when the suspension was compressed. I'm used to being able to pedal around corners, and I was striking the pedals on rocks and things when the suspension was more compressed. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about wheels. So tire wise, they're Maxxis Ardents, and that's the other thing with this bike. I mean, it's a 5-inch bike, but this wheel set seems to be a little more cross-country oriented. So I think it's a good compromise with 5 inches of travel, but a lighter weight, faster rolling set of wheels. So the Ardent 2.25, and these are actually tubeless ready tires. And then they're WTB I-23 millimeter, so they're a little bit wider than typical cross-country rims. And they are currently set up tubeless, so this bike is ready to go, ready to ride. And like I said, I have no plans on really upgrading anything on this bike. I'm gonna use it and abuse it, and if something breaks on it, that's basically what I fear with any full suspension bike. In a sense, I kind of look at them as disposable. If you're going to ride them hard for 1-2 years, my gut feeling is you're going to end up having problems with them. And I know guys here in town that race that go through like multiple frames over the years. Their bikes break, their full suspension bikes. So one nice thing is that, you know, this is an inexpensive shock. If I do have problems with those, I might just replace it with the same model that comes on this to keep the price down. But I'm hoping to not have problems with this bike. But my gut feeling is if I ride it hard and long out on the trails, that I may eventually see issues crop up with it. One other issue that I don't like is it's a press fit bottom bracket. And so I had said in my commute video that I made just recently that I bought 2 new bicycles. This is one of them. The other one is, I'll show it to you when I get it back, because it's currently at the shop and it's having press fit bottom bracket issues. It's creaking, and we're trying to figure out how to stop it from creaking. So one piece of advice I give you right here and now is don't buy a bike with a press fit bottom bracket. You're asking for potential noise creaking nightmares that will be difficult to solve. So yeah, introductory video on my new KHS 650 3500 120 millimeter front and rear full suspension bike. Thanks for watching.